Good evening, and thank you for watching. For those of y'all who don't know me, I am Larry Tassan, anti-government pro-activist. And for those of you who do know me personally, yeah, we've been through this before. You know that's not my real name, but that's not important. What's important right now is what I'm going to talk about. And for those of y'all who liked and watched my last video, which of course was about my Walmart incident, if you got a kick out of that one, you're going to love this one. And as I mentioned in that video, I've worked in customer service for years, i.e. fast food joints, telemarket, quote and unquote telemarketing, fundraising for law enforcement over the telephone, multiple restaurants, and now in this particular video, I'm going to talk about all the other ones later. This one, though, I'm going to talk about fast food. For 4 years of my life, when I lived in Austin, Texas, I worked at a fast food joint, which of course is Dairy Queen, which was located right at 5900 Manor Road in Austin, Texas. For 3 out of 4 of those years, I was the assistant manager at that particular store. And well, the stuff that I've ran into, I still to this day find pretty comical. I'll go ahead and start off with my most favorite one, because there was this one instance where, I was in the office and I was looking at my surveillance cameras, the only one in the whole store, needless to say, which was pointed at the drive-thru right by the reader board. And I noticed this guy is just standing there looking at the reader board, and I figured maybe he wants to figure out what he wants before he walks in, so he doesn't have to hold any of us up. So I ain't mad at you. Go ahead, you look at that board and see what you want. Well, not even a minute later, one of my employees was like, Larry, Larry. No, she didn't say Larry. That wasn't what I was going by over there. But Larry, this guy up front needs to talk to a manager. And I'm like, what the hell for? All right, hold on. So I go up there, and there he is. I'm like, yes, sir, what can I do you for? And he's like, I was here a little while ago, and I got 3 triple meat hamburgers that had raw meat on them, and I was wondering if you could make it up. And I told him, well, in order for me to make up an order like that, or any order at all, I would need either the receipt or I would need the messed up burgers. That is our company policy. We require proof that something like that actually happened. And he said, and this is where it gets funny, he was like, well, I fed them to my dogs. And I'm thinking, oh, no, you didn't. I don't even give my dog people food that is good. She likes her dog chow. Anyway, I told him, well, since you fed them to your dog, you obviously can't bring them to me, so there's really nothing I can do about it. But if you like, I can give you the number to the home office. And he's like, no, you don't understand. This was raw meat, okay? And I'm trying to work with you, but you're not giving me much to work with, and I'd hate to have to call the health department. And I'm thinking, oh, we're going to go that route, huh? And I'm like, just wait right there. I'll be right back. I go back into my office, go to the City of Austin's webpage, and I look for the link for the health department. And as soon as I found it, I printed it up. And then I come back and I picked up my highlighter and I highlighted the telephone number to the City of Austin's health department. So I came back up there with it, and I'm like, well, sir, like I said, unfortunately, in accordance with our company, and that is our company policy, I can't redeem an order without proof. But if you're really serious about calling the health department, here you go. This is a link this is a page from the City of Austin, and right here, I went ahead and highlighted the telephone number to the health department. And he just kind of gave me this go to hell look. Never saw him again. Yeah, me one, guy zero. The bluff has officially been called. And another thing, this kind of syndicates the differences between dumb employees and dumb customers. Whenever they do call and try to get remake orders, now depending on who they're talking to, and I had another shift leader who will remain nameless for anonymity purposes. Well, all it took was someone to call her and say my order was messed up. The only question she would ask was, what is it? She'd write it on the paper. What's your name? Write it on the paper. And that's the end of it. And right in front of the order, she'll put free and hang it on the bulletin board. This was going on for well over a week. like $40 an hour over remakes. So I questioned her about it, and she was telling me these people are calling in because their orders are messed up. And I said, well, how are you handling it? She said she's asking the name, asking what it is, and putting it up. And I said, you're going about it wrong. Because and I told her, this is what you need to do. And this is what I would do when they'd do it to me. The telephone would ring, Derek from Manor Road, can I help you? And they'll be like, yeah, I was just there a while ago and my order was messed up. Okay, what was wrong with it? It was just wrong. And I'd be like, okay, if you bring it back to us or give us a receipt, I will be more than happy to either refund it or replace it. Okay? And then I'll just abruptly hang up. 3 out of 10 times they'll call back, and when they do, I just give them the number to the home office because I got a business to run. I don't have time to play. And now, another thing I've seen, the customers tend to have attitudes. And here's a good example. There was one time these two women came in there having bad attitudes, being all ghetto, blah blah blah, and they'll be like, "Why don't y'all have this? Why don't y'all have that? They got it at the store at North Lamar." I'm like, well, for one, we in North Lamar are under 2 separate franchises, and second, when you go to the store out on North Lamar, do they let you act like that? Because over here, that's unacceptable. And I'm pointing up at the red and white sign that clearly states, we reserve the right to refuse service to anybody for any or no reason. And they hated that because it's like, hey, just because I'm working at a fast food joint, it does not mean I have signed over my civil liberties and gave them to you, enabling you to abuse them, mistreat them, and do everything else. That's how I dealt with people like that. And there was another instance where, because LBJ High School was about a mile down the road on the other side of US 183, well, during lunch hour, they'd come over to us and do business with us. Hey, that's fine. However, there was this one bunch that came in one day trying to piss me off because they were erratically changing their order as they went through. Hey, can we get it small? Can we get it large? And I overheard one of them say, I think we're pissing them off, real quietly. And I'm like, okay. And I reach into my pocket. I pulled out my little blue card, which is what a card every manager carries. I swipe it through the terminal. Like, okay, man. I'm actually speaking as I'm doing. I'm like, okay, the card has been swiped. Clear order. Are you sure you want to clear? Yes. Clearing order, please wait. And once the order was cleared, I'm taking their cups away and putting them back down. I'm like, the order is cleared. You may go. And I'm pointing at the sign again. They're like, what? You have to serve us. And I'm like, we reserve the right to refuse service. You think you're pissing me off, huh? Well, maybe at Jack in the Box or McDonald's. You ain't going to do that here with me. Now go somewhere else. And they thought they were pissing me off. I know I pissed them off. Once again, I did not give up my rights. And as a manager, another one of the things I've had to deal with, of course, were applicants. Of course, and the people that would apply, please, you're joking me, right? You know, sometimes they'd come in smelling like weed or like they live under a bridge. They come in there with their pants halfway down past their ass with their drawers and everything showing. And they'd be like, I can get an application, dog. And I'm thinking, I'm not your dog. And I'd just go ahead and tell them, well, we're out right now, but even then, we're not hiring. And then they'd proceed to place an order. And they would come in, and the same person would come in, well, not the same exact person, but people just like that would come in every day hoping I'm going to give them an application. And after a while, one of them said, look, man, I've been coming here for a while. Why ain't y'all hiring? And I just went and told them, to be honest with you, I don't like your appearance. And if you interviewed with our director of operations, the one who actually makes that decision, he wouldn't either. Make some adjustments to yourself, and we'll go from there. It's like, damn, do you really expect to get a job coming in like that? And here's another funny one for you. We had a dumpster right behind our restaurant, just like any other business, of course. It was not a public dumpster. It is ours. And there was one time this guy pulls up in his car. He has a bunch of junk in the back seat of it. One of them being an old television set. He wanted to throw it in there. I'm sitting in the dining room when it happens, so I get up and I walk over to the back door, and there's a little peephole in the back door to where I can look through it. This son of a bitch is about to throw a television set in it, so I opened the door and I told him, "Excuse me, can't throw that in here. That's ours. You're gonna have to put it somewhere else." And he's like, "Sorry." So I just went ahead and closed the door behind me, giving him the satisfaction that I went away, but I just kept watching him through the peephole. And he's standing there looking around like that. Then he goes back into the car and pulls the son of a bitch out. So I just opened the door back up again. I'm like, "I said you can't do that." So he gives me a go to hell look, puts the television set back in his car, and drives off. Yes, indeed. And there was this one time where Blizzards, where this one lady wanted a Reese's Pieces Blizzard. That's exactly what I made her. There's no wrong way to make it. It's just ice cream and Reese's Pieces blended up. That's what I gave her. And then she comes back to the counter with it, and she's like, I'll just use this beer can as an example, but it's actually the cup. She's like, "Excuse me, I asked for Reese's Cups. This isn't Reese's Cups." And I'm like, "Yes, it is. I made it." "No, it's not. Just taste it." "Ma'am, I'm looking right at it, and I can see the little edges of that piece of candy, which clearly indicates Reese's Cup." And she's like, "No, here, I want my money back." I'm like, "Okay." Just gave the bitch back her money. Stupid people. And let's see, here's a good one. The most dangerous situation I've been in. There's actually two of them. The first one, of course, I was still a regular employee. Well, there's this Mexican family in there, and there was this one guy who was a pretty big guy, built like a train. Wouldn't want to get in a fight with him, but his wife or girlfriend, whatever she was, asked for a brownie earthquake. And once she paid for it, the guy was like, "Hey, can you wash your hands when you do that, when you make that?" And because I do it anyway, because it's common sense, I'm like, come on, I always do it. And he's like, "I didn't ask you if you always do it or not." "Hey, you got something to say to me?" I'm just not saying anything at all. He's just going on and on. He's like, "Yes, let's go ahead and say something so I can come across the counter and wipe that fucking smile off your face." And I'm thinking, yeah, you do. There's a tire iron right under the counter I'm not afraid to use. But yeah, needless to say, he never came across the counter, and I never seen his fat ass back in my store again. Now, the most dangerous one was more violent. No, I didn't have to go to the hospital. But here's the thing. There was this group. There was like 5 or 6, I don't want to sound racist when I say this, but colored people, built like grizzly bears. They came into my store. Each of them wanted cheeseburgers. Well, they didn't say cheeseburgers. They just wanted regular hamburgers. So that's what I get them. They all go back to their car, and then they all come back out. Hamburgers opened up. "Say, homie, where the cheese at? We wanted cheese." I'm like, "Well, you asked for hamburgers, but that's no problem. I'll get you your cheese." And because they already touched it, I didn't want to touch the burger again, so I just went to the kitchen, got 6 pieces of cheese, just let it put them on it themselves, and they're bitching about it. And the only reason I did it hard for them is because they're trying to be assholes to me. So I just let them do it themselves. And they're trying to put it on, and they're all bitching and complaining about it being sticky. And I'm like, "Well, I didn't want to touch your burger myself because I thought that'd be pretty disrespectful." And this one guy's like, "Say, you ain't got to be disrespectful, old bitch-ass nigga. Fuck you." I'm like, "Go ahead and leave." So he takes the cheeseburger, threw that bitch right at me. Now, if it was just me and him, we would have been boxing. Sure, I'd have to grab the tire iron, but we would have been boxing. But since it was me versus 6 of them, I ain't risking it. I just picked up the telephone and hit 911. Never saw them again either. But that's pretty much all I have to say right about now. Once again, I am Larry Toussaint, and I do thank you for watching. Y'all have a good evening, and God bless you.